right, everybody. Welcome to episode 11 of the Business Blueprint. I'm your host, Bryan Bursick, and today we have some special guests. So, as everybody knows, construction is a man-driven world, they think, or they say. But behind every single construction company, there is always ladies in the background handling the things that nobody thinks matter or don't ever think that happen. And there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes that doesn't get appreciated all the time. And there's a lot of effort and energy that gets put into all these projects. So I have the office staff of Hemlock Homes here today. I'll let the ladies introduce themselves. Let's start with you, Sara.
Sara Heisler. I'm the office manager.
I'm Taylor Campbell. I am the office admin.
I'm Stephanie Cup, and I run the selections program for Hemlock. I didn't always do that. I started out as an office admin myself.
Correct. Some of us have been, few of us have been through the very beginning, which we were just talking about before we jumped on here. Our first office was currently across the street from where we're doing this now. We were just talking about some of the fun that we had in the beginning of all this and just kind of going through the evolution of the business in regards to, how this all came about. So a little background story about the company of Hemlock. I've said it before, but we started actually in this current building as our I don't even know a current space. I think it was more like an idea, and we had like a room. And then we had the opportunity, we seen an office space across the street that was for lease, and me and Ryan walked down there and we're just looking through the windows and yada, yada. And, at that time, we didn't really understand where everything was going. That was like right at the beginning of COVID, like when COVID was like right before the shutdowns and all the other stuff that happened. And we needed more space and we were growing. So we were like, all right, well, let's take the opportunity on that. And I think as we were remodeling it, they shut down all of construction. And I remember being outside on a ladder and painting the exterior of the building when we're not supposed to be doing anything. But yeah, Sara and Stephanie have been, how long have you been with us?
Since 2020.
You're 2020?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, summer of 2020.
I was fall.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So quite a while now.
4 years.
4 years.
Taylor,
4
wonderful years.
October last year.
Nice.
Yeah, October.
So let's just kind of go through the background of what everybody kind of does and what roles and responsibilities that everybody kind of handles. So you can go first, Sara.
Mainly, I do a lot of the contracts and draw, setup, cost allocation, going through and just making sure financially we're set up, some of the systems and processes, and kind of fill in whatever and wherever is needed.
What kind of response is that?
That's kind of what everybody does. I was thinking, that's kind of like what everybody does, but yeah.
I mean, last year I was doing more of the operations,
100%.
And then you pulled in, and
100%.
same thing with you. You get in, and it
For
just
sure.
depends
So,
on
like,
what everybody wants to do when they're doing it.
It's definitely that. So it's the sense of like the business kind of swings, and when things are more priority, we kind of jump over to. The reason why we jumped into the cost allocations and things of that nature was because we didn't understand cash flow cycles whenever we went through COVID. So we were early on and didn't understand that banks front-loaded draws, and we didn't understand that we were allowed to move draw allocations. And some banks really weren't up to kind of letting us do that. So what happened during COVID is we were losing money on all the builds primarily, and then at the very end of the build, there's 7 draws. So on the 7th draw, we'd be $30,000 upside down because you kept kicking a can. So that's what happens in cash flow of construction businesses and why most construction businesses get to a certain point where they have cash flow issues. So we would make some money and then we would have to give it right back to overages. And this was like a rinse and repeat model for like 2 years. And I'm like, until we get off of this train, this business will die. I mean, we'll have zero chance of ever surviving past where we were, which was, in the middle of 12 builds with no money coming in and not a road that we weren't sure we were really going to go down. So, we had to prioritize allocating and getting our funds back together and understanding cash flow allocations in regard to debt cycles. And that was very complicated on a level of, you're talking, $7, $8, $9 million. And that's what makes it very challenging, especially construction companies, because we're in and out businesses. So, we were able to fix that, and that what led to, last year being a great year for sure. Taylor, what are you responsible for?
That's a great question. I am responsible for making all your appointments. I am responsible for paying all the bills. And I also do all of the marketing as well.
Plus manage like my own personal nightmares.
I didn't know if you wanted me to say that, but I definitely do that.
Steph?
Like I said, I run the selections program at Hemlock. Basically, I meet with all the clients, both remodeling and new construction. We pick out all the finishes to the project, whether it's, whole house, exterior and interior, or just a remodel project. And then I work with project managers on scheduling, and so we're both on the same page with our orders, because I do some of the ordering as well.
Yep. So the main purpose of ladies inside of an office full of men are to hold us back from doing stupid shit all the time. I'm notorious. Sarah, a lot of times before early on, I would be going at like 230 miles an hour in certain directions. And I need, at a certain point, you need a pullback of like, whoa, you need to stop. As a business owner, you have to surround yourself with people in places where you lack, right? So I already know early on, like, I suck at detail. Like, I'm a fast-moving human being. I go from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another, to another. And I'm primarily only focusing on money-generating activities. That is 90% of my day. That is 90% of everything I do inside the company is, constantly generating money and new activities to create money. But you also, in a business have to understand that you lack certain skills and be able to build a team around you that is also willing to uplift you, and everyone's willing to uplift each other. But I am fucking terrible at details in every aspect of it. I don't read documents. I don't read contracts. I don't read draw allocations. I don't read a lot of that thing. In business owners always feel like they need to have their pulse and hand on everything. That's what makes people lack growth. I think our company's done very well and been very successful over the years because we've all stayed. I don't bother anybody. Like, I'm not a micromanager. I don't think I micromanage any of you by any means. I think we all have our own opportune goals, and we know exactly what we're doing. Like I tell people all the time, like, I don't really know what they're doing on a day-to-day basis.
Everything that you don't want to do.
Yeah,
Right. That is so true.
Yeah, I mean,
So true.
But yeah, I mean, I think the micromanaging side of a business is what doesn't allow them to grow, and it doesn't allow them to grow at a speed that I don't think any speed that we did was really normal. No. The growth though that kind of happened from the beginning of the story is I don't think any of us really anticipated it being what it really is now. At least I didn't at this pace that we're at. But, early on it was, okay, I did sales, I did billing, I did marketing, I did selections, I did the whole 9 yards. And then we got to a point, I was like, okay, like I can't do any of this at some point. Like, how do we fill in those gaps? And I think a lot of people in business too, they don't want to make their first hire because they're afraid to like pay the money, and they're afraid to share profits. And honestly, we didn't have shit to share. So it's like, well, how are we going to continue to do that? But, throughout my life and throughout businesses, like we've always been able to manage and maintain money. And that's, I knew from an operational standpoint, and I knew from a detail standpoint, I knew from a contract standpoint that we would be the first, that would be the first place we would ever get sued. And that would be the first place that we're open for, somebody to take advantage of us. And that's kind of where Sara came in. Sarah's background is in construction. Can you touch base upon some of the stuff you did before coming to Hemlock?
Before Hemlock, I moved here in around 2010, and I actually had been in the automotive industry for about 10 years in service and sales. And when I came here, I did not plan on staying, and I was looking at going back, and my sister had worked for Heartland Homes, the pre-NVR Heartland Homes. I call it old school Heartland. And she had said, hey, why don't you get a job with Heartland? It's a fun company. It's, really cool place to work. And so I was like, okay, I had nothing to lose. So started off there, and it was one of the most fun places I had ever worked. And it was just, it didn't even seem like reality. It was really cool. And it was what I would say, like kind of a larger version of what we are. It was more the custom building, but at a little bit of a smaller level. And so I got in with that and was a construction concierge, learned a lot about the construction process, wound up getting interested in the sales side of things, thought I wanted to go into sales. NVR came in and surprised us and purchased Heartland Old School and turned it into Heartland what it is today. I was in the sales training program and finished the NVR training program and decided I wanted to go a different route. Reached out to a manager I had previously worked for, and she gave me the opportunity to work for S&A Homes. So I did office. I transferred into the office then at that point and started doing contracts and a lot of the similar things that I do now, but not quite to the level. And then I had a child, and pretty soon S&A said they were pulling out of Pittsburgh. So at that point I had a second kid and decided I was going to be a stay-at-home mom for a little while. And then fast forward a few years, and we were on vacation, and I was presented an opportunity to grow with Hemlock Homes.
Yeah, it was like I always think back on it, and it's cool now. Like we're able to look back in different offices and different levels and different sales prices and different clients and all these things now. I mean, it's wild because we built over. I mean, I think we're just over 70 houses now. But when you talk about some of the
insane.
very, very first, and when you talk about
insane.
concept and you talk about these things of. We both kind of found each other at the right time. It was, you were kind of lacking. You're an extremely driven human being, and that the stay-at-home mom things only lasts so long for people with type A personalities and want to be in the hustle and bustle of business. And we both kind of. I talked about it with Steve before I even think I talked about it with Ryan, where I was like, we should bring her on. It's like we should talk about it. Now I was like, and I told Ryan, I was like, hey Ryan, I talked to her. I was like, yeah, I mean, maybe we'll do something. But no, it's not looking back. I mean, it's we all need each other at certain times, and it's a fascinating thing when you start to look back and you're like, man, because
I never thought it was going to be to this level.
Not as fast as it was, for sure. No. So then, obviously we started doing that it was me and you for a little bit, and then we knew we needed administrative help, and we knew we needed to, get some outside assistance as well, and that's where Steph kind of came in. She was introduced by a friend of ours, and the interesting thing is, and I don't mean to put you out there, Steph, but you had one of the world's worst interviews on planet Earth.
What happened?
I was just super nervous.
Yeah. But you could tell that I look deeper into that, and you can see that she's the person that if something goes wrong, that she takes it very serious, and she's very adamant about her work, and she's very adamant about the details, and she knows if something goes wrong, that mistake doesn't very rarely happen again, and that's a very thing that is hard to find in people because and she also came from the restaurant industry, so she knew nothing about construction, and I mean fucking zero about construction, period. So, I mean, what were some of your biggest challenges other than, you can talk about not knowing construction. What were some of your biggest challenges early on?
Well, I hadn't had an office job for quite some years.
Yeah, you had vampire hours.
Yeah.
That was the hard part too for you.
Yeah, like being a 9 to 5 was very difficult. Even to this day, I'm still like, man, I don't know.
Get off the exit and shake my head. I'm just gonna go home.
Right. Just,
You thought that drive
I don't
was
want to
bad.
fucking do this.
I don't mind the highway actually.
Now.
Right. But yeah, that was definitely a big one. Just change of lifestyle, learning the construction side of everything. Because, like Bryan said, I didn't know anything. I know a little bit now.
No, I think surprisingly, like if you're in a random conversation at a bar, you would hold your own to most men. 100%.
Thank you. But I mean, in the grand scheme of things, there's a lot to know. Many
sure.
facets of the construction
For sure.
industry.
And we do a lot of it.
Yeah,
And
like
you
I
see-
don't really know what Sarah does.
Yeah. It's all the
Numbers.
boring shit. It's just
Thanks.
the number side of it that just drives you crazy and you can't ever figure out.
We just
a
make
Rubik's
sure the
Cube.
money's there
Yeah,
to pay what we need to pay. And
Yeah.
So have you found, and it's interesting because I wanted to touch on this topic too a little bit. It's a, when people think of construction, you think it's just some dude out there just firing on trim and like some big burly guy framing a house.
And that's how a lot of companies run.
For sure. But, for every construction company that I almost know and every big one that I've ever been a part of, the ladies are in the background. And that's why I wanted to do this podcast, to shine light on and introduce people to you guys before they even come see you, in the sense of, who are you talking to on the phone? Who are you, before you get into selections, like who gets into, like, most people don't see Sarah until it's contract time, and then you don't ever see Sarah again. Like, that's just kind of the one and done job of, not everybody gets the glory of being, the hands-on person of it, I guess, per se. But, the nuts and bolts of construction, it's all held together mostly by ladies in the background. And that needs to be spoken on in this industry, because without any of that and without these ladies, this company wouldn't run. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I can't do half of the shit that they do, and I'm not good at it. So, that's why they're here. But, have you ran into any, as a woman in the industry, have you run into any problems being a woman in the industry? Any of you?
No, I've had
Not yet.
no experiences like that.
And that's the funny thing about it is like it's perceived. You're almost treated a little bit differently. You're not treated as, some of us guys get it the hard from some of these subs, and the subs are tough to deal with. I mean, getting their, whether it's their insurances or their just documents, you got to follow up with them 9,000 times, because they're just not going to routinely, just send everything over to you in a care package, and that becomes very difficult. You're dealing with a lot of guys in the industry who are very hands-on in the game too, to where paperwork to them is like 2 words and they send over a $50,000 invoice. Ours is so detail-oriented and everything has to be so microed down, and that's, the interesting thing about the industry. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you moving on was an interesting thing, because you came from, the administrative side, but you kind of got into the selections role whenever I backed out of it. And I remember down at the old office, I think we redid that wall. Fuck, I don't even know. 5 times, maybe,
yeah.
at least. But that was like our first like concept of a design studio. It was a 1,200 square foot single open room with 14-foot ceilings. The building was 115 years old. And we kind of just played around with having a design studio, because that was, to me, and I still believe this way, I think that's the only way you control clients. So I went on an appointment this morning, and the guy was like, yeah, I had a couple people here, but I don't have any nailed down quotes because I got to like go see a designer. I got to go to the flooring place. I got to go here. I'm like, oh, that's just a fucking terrible model. I'm like, why don't we just pack all that in here and we'll just take care of all of it for you? Which creates a lot of nightmares and revamping, and we're now revamping again, and we'll continue to revamp, and that's just going to be a fun thing forever and ever and ever and ever.
I think at first we had to rearrange the wall many times because it was very hard to get materials from vendors, because they just thought, oh, we don't know who Hemlock is. I'm not going to bother getting them some serious stuff and wasted money. But
yeah, it was hard.
Yeah.
I think I think about it all the time. I really do. I do. I think about, how, because I think businesses, they always want to keep reinventing themselves. But like, I'm always a big proponent of like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. Like, what got us here? You know, what got us to this point in the industry? What got us to this level? What got us to the success so fast? And, you know, always reinvesting in the business has been something that we've always done and always want to continuously do and always want to make things better in the business. Now, what got us here is us just being us. Like that I think there's no, you know, again, the corporate sales structure of NVR is an amazing thing. It's a beast. Like they are creating absolute machines over there. And those are always awesome. I mean, I've been in sales my entire life. I've traveled across the country and done sales training and all those things. But I think as business shifts, like you got to watch the tolerance of people, and just being authentic is always going to win in the end over a robotic system. Now, if you're doing massive scale, it just has to be that way. But now we kind of have our own flow, and we kind of have our own space, and everyone has now their own offices. Everyone can have their own routines, and it's not as we just started at one table. Like that was just what it was. We were one table in one room where we all sat together, and that was just it. You know, the guys would still come in at 2-3 o'clock and blah 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 blah, and you had no choice but to talk to each other. We did that for all the way until leaving the Peters office. Well, you got your own office. Me and Sarah did. You had your own. I gave you mine. Me and Sarah didn't have shit. We've been riding that table forever. Now we just sit across from each other and stare at each other and give each other the finger. She has a sign that says "fucktard" for me. It's real nice.
We throw stuff at each other.
Yeah.
Deflected by the glass.
So as you kind of progressed and moved up is something we talked about, is moving you in an individual role of selections, because selections is a very difficult thing, especially in new construction. There's a million moving parts when you're talking about our bread and butter houses of 2,000 square foot ranches, which we're extremely systemized there. But then you get 4,000 square foot, 5,000 square foot, scattered site, completely off the wall things. Those are very, very tedious, and they're very, very, there's a lot of back and forth as far as selections and drawings and a lot of things like that. And it's a very, very difficult. And when you were doing administrative plus the selections, it was just a nonstop thing, plus answering the phone, plus doing this, plus doing that, plus paying bills, plus this.
And I do payroll.
And she, still does payroll. But yeah, it just became very hard. And we split it out. It became, hey, this is a number one thing that we need to focus on. And everybody kind of started getting more departmentalized, and that we're going to kind of start reinventing that again and following another, order of operations as we move forward here. But that's where we kind of knew that we needed a new administrative person. And how many interviews we do for admin?
A lot.
I
You
stopped
guys are making me
counting.
feel special.
We did a lot.
A lot.
Yeah, like it was like back to back to back. Like there were days that it was
4 or 5.
people were passing each other coming in for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That did happen.
Yeah.
Times.
Yeah.
And it was, and again, not to knock anybody over, even, came in more. We wanted somebody younger. I mean, that was definitely what we more wanted, was somebody younger in regards to, who can kind of step in on it. Because the business moves at a very fast-paced level, and it changes gears very quickly, and things pop up, things need done, got to go here, oh, this popped up, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's just a part of construction. That is a part of a level when you're doing a lot of different, tasks in construction. So it was down to 2. What was the other dude's name?
I can't even remember.
We don't remember anybody's name.
Right. I mean, there was probably like 40 people that we met.
Wow.
But it was between him
there
and
was
her
a
and that
lot.
other dude.
There were so many resumes. Yeah.
What I didn't like about it
the
is
guy-
he showed up 15
he
minutes
did.
later. Burn.
He
I was done.
did.
I was out.
And you passed him on your way.
Out.
On your way. And
yeah.
yeah, you guys
Yeah.
passed each
I
other.
think he introduced himself to
Yeah, he
me,
did.
if I'm being
He's a
honest.
good dude.
And I was
Like,
just
listen-
like,
A little
oh,
awkward.
yeah.
Yeah, like he's a good dude. Like
He was really
he
nice.
still shows mad love on social media and everything like that. And again, he was very organized. But I'm a time person. Like, if you can't get that right, like we're on basis one of like, all right, this isn't gonna work here. What was interesting about the whole interviewing thing like that is how old are you again?
I'm 21.
Yeah, you're 21. But you're not 21. Like, you're 21 at age, but you're extremely responsible, and you're extremely there for 21.
Thanks,
I mean, you have your own
guys.
home, you have your own
I like
car.
to think
that
it.
was some of the stuff that we talked about in the background of, like, you got to believe in the person more than you believe in, like, the story. And, for me, it was, I already knew like part of your upbringing and I knew part of that and all, but like it was the willingness to work, because you're in a generation now where that is hard to find. That is a very difficult thing to just roll up your sleeves and get dirty and go get this money. I mean, because that is the way it's gonna go. Like, the world is not gonna give you any opportunities. You need to create them. And also the plus side of it was, your marketing degree, which was, the plus side of it.
Very expensive, but yeah.
You're putting it to great use. So everybody that sees the wonderful marketing now for Hemlock, that is no longer, I took care of it for a while. Terrible at it. It is amazing now. And thanks to Taylor, which has really turned that around. So what have you kind of learned getting into this industry? Because you came from a restaurant too.
Mm-hmm. I have learned, there's too many things to name. I've learned a lot. How to deal with you. That's a big one. I've learned a lot about construction, and I think a lot of that is hard for some people, and especially like you said, at my age, most people aren't behind the scenes, they're doing it. Yeah. So I think it was like really nice for me to come in and have that, and I think you're like a really good mentor, so you were like helping me throughout that, because when I came in, I knew nothing. Stephanie, I asked her like 50 million questions. So sorry.
No, it wasn't bad at all. You were great. You learned very quickly. You caught on to everything super quick.
Yeah, I just didn't want to get in trouble. But it's really eye-opening.
You don't get in trouble. Nobody gets in trouble.
I only yell at Sarah.
We're not being held hostage.
Only me and Sarah fight.
Yeah, no, but I have learned a lot, and I continue to learn a lot. And I think that, honestly, this is my first big girl job, and I hope to stay here a long time. And I've learned a lot about myself, I think, as well. Being that, not that you guys are old, but you guys are adults, and it's being around that environment. Being in that environment really is extremely helpful.
That's really nice that you think we're
fucking horrible
adults.
No, you're just very established adults. I'm a very new adult, so everything's very new to me, and you guys helped me a lot along the way with everything, and I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, it's yes, we are old.
You're not
unfortunately.
old, you're not that old.
Bob's old.
Oh,
poor guy. No, it's a unique thing in the sense of it's a complete team now. It feels good. And what's really cool is like our turnover. And I was talking to a friend of mine the other day who was talking about somebody else's company who's grown a lot, and they've had 200% turnover. We don't even think 2% turnover, which speaks volume to a lot of what we have going on. I don't think we fired anybody from the office staff ever. Not one person.
Oh,
Ish.
there was that one guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They were kind of 1099s though. I don't know if that really counts.
What was Victor? What was that?
They were field guys.
No, I'm talking about the dude that.
Oh, you're talking about the computer.
Yeah, what was his name?
Hire from
Which one?
The guy that lasted like 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
Daryl.
Oh, he was a virtual assistant. That was a virtual assistant.
He was
couldn't remember the term.
I know, but nobody's really
awful.
gotten fired.
Yeah, well,
so
he was a 1099
he got
too.
fired
I don't think we've
no
ever.
other.
So some guy, in Thailand or
Thailand?
something.
no, I've never heard this story.
Yeah, so we
He
tried.
came
we
after
tried that out.
Stephanie after the fact. He's like, "Oh no, Stephanie should cluck."
Yeah, we had to shut that down. So we toyed around with things over the years. That was what we tried to do before we hired you.
Yeah, and then
So
we
what
realized
was-
it just.
We tried to
was not
offsource it to a
working.
$3 an hour position.
What was wrong with it? What?
Oh.
He just
The
wasn't
fucking
doing
fact that
anything.
It's 2:00 in the morning where he's is.
Yeah.
And he had like 3 jobs at the same
Probably.
time that he was working on.
And he
all
would
of
be
them,
like
and
clocked in and nothing would happen. And I'm like, what are we
Yeah.
doing here? Like, then you had to pay. So like
Then you had to pay
VA, for
staff.
people who don't understand how the VA environment works, there's a broker. So you pay the broker a middleman fee every month, whether it's $1,500. And so don't think that you're getting a VA for $3. Like, you're not. You're getting a VA for $3 an hour, but then you're paying a broker in the middle like $1,500 a month for their services and yada,
And
yada,
you get
yada.
what you pay for.
So I was in a mastermind group, and you kind of get pushed around to some different shit. So we tried one of the virtual assistant programs, and you can't do what we do virtually. You just can't. There's too much to know. Like the data, even simple data input was a fucking nightmare. Everything with it sucked. Stephanie having to do her job plus monitor a camera, but dude looking at each other. Like the whole thing of it just, I don't know, how long did we do it for? 3 weeks?
Probably.
Yeah, it wasn't-
Something like
it wasn't
that.
a whole month.
Yeah, like the thing about us is if it doesn't work, like I don't have no ego in the sense of my idea didn't work. Like fucking skirt it and move on to the next thing. Like I have okay ideas
Steph
and I
gave
have
it
good
hell,
ideas.
though.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I felt bad for her because I think we were definitely moving backwards. We were not
Yeah.
going fucking forwards, period. And that was one of them ideas where it was like, all right, we need bodies here, and that's just the way it needs to go. Like everybody needs to be in, and that was also with a lot of the. There was a lot of interviews for the administrative job too. They're like, "Can we do this virtually?" I'm like, "Fuck no! We just tried this. We
Hybrid.
just from home." No. Because the thing about our business is we run it limited staff for as long as we possibly can until we cannot do it any further. And that's kind of where we're at now. Is that like me and Ryan and Steve have been talking in depth about okay, do we do? I don't even know how to explain it. It's not even an estimator, but it's someone who can get something to like 75% priced in like 4 days, if we're going to continue to do more volume. And, we were talking even today about, what's the pathway to get to 25 homes a year? What does that look like? And those are some things that we're going to work into probably then, or probably starting this week of like the hierarchy of like who's responsible for what, who needs to talk to who. Mark's positions in regards to whether it's a extreme scattered lot with with septic, propane. Those things are like, we do a very tough business because every one of our pieces of our jobs is not the same. There's not a job that we do that's the same because the land's different. The utilities are different. The townships are different. The houses are different. There's different materials. There's different, the person building it's different. Like just because you build the same house kind of doesn't mean it's the same house. What's very unique, though, is we're at the point where we built one house 8 times, and we're within $9,000 of it, each one. So now you're kind of getting it honed in to where, like, okay, the numbers are starting to make sense. What's the path to get that to more scale? And that's where you'll step back into the operations thing and start getting, me and you working together in regards to that. But yeah, I mean, the business is ever changing in the sense of like, what direction do you want to go? What direction do you not want to go? Getting the numbers and getting those aspects is the next hard part, and that's a part that takes up a ton of time, and that's a part that sucks the life out of everybody. So that's like kind of the next thing we and Ryan and Steve have been looking at is like, okay, how do we do this? What does it look like? 'Cause it's not technically an estimator. Like it's some job that doesn't even exist yet. We were talking about today, like, what do we even call it? Like, I don't even know. So, that's the next segment to the business of a lot of stuff that you deal with in regards to getting pricing and keeping updated on pricing, because that's the next thing of, okay, you can't keep your pulse on doing selections for 12 people. You can't keep your pulse on doing 12 contracts at one time while getting bids, while doing this, while the drawing's changing. And so that's like the things that we've been working on internally in the office and we just bought a vibe board, which I think is going to help out a ton. And I love that thing. That was money well spent.
Want to use the vibe board? Do you want me to set
Do
up
you want me
the
to set
vibe
the
board?
vibe board? Let's use
Nobody
the vibe
even
board.
guys cricketed.
Does anybody want the
First
vibe
off,
board?
First off, let's talk about that. I fucking sent that message out today, and everybody cricketed me.
No one
Nope,
answered.
not one reply.
We were busy.
I did it myself.
Some of us were working.
We were busy.
That doesn't mean you can just. You're in there doing other shit. You can just say no. So then I asked Ryan. I was like, we're in a meeting. So I was like, hey man, you want me to pull up the vibe board for? Well, that makes it more of a presentation, not really a meeting. And I'm like, he's like, I don't know if I'm ready for all that yet. I'm like, all right, we'll work our way into it. And I was like, because here's what's gonna happen, Ryan. Like, I'm gonna go with Stephanie, and we're gonna input all the changes into the vibe board regardless, and send it to Corey. So regardless, it's going on that damn vibe board.
I'm gonna do it tomorrow on the board. Yeah, he can have his paper.
He's just, not to be mean, but he's just getting old.
The paper that
He's
doesn't
not,
go anywhere.
He doesn't like
He
technology.
doesn't want to be a presenter. He doesn't.
He said that to me today too. It's
Did
like,
he?
have a presentation then.
It's not, but
I was like, all right, you do it already.
I'm not gonna lie. That thing makes a huge difference.
Yeah, because
yeah,
it's going to
100%.
keep us
It's
a lot
real
more
time.
organized now in the sense of the drawings being a lot more accurate, getting out to the right people. And I was talking about that with Ryan and Steve today. Is like, it'd be nice to get the operational standpoint of, who's responsible for what, who are you going to hear from on certain sectors with the subs and the sub base, of getting that more fluent too, of when this person reaches out, you understand what's going on, and that person's responsible for this, this, and this. And that's something that we've tried to do over the years, but the business has shifted gears so many times because of economical changes or, credit to everybody in the company. I mean, even just making it through COVID. I mean, I was talking to Ryan and I was like, listen, not that we haven't done great. We've done amazing. Like, in regards to the whole thing as a conglomerate, like, this company has done amazing shit. Like, it is incredible. But boy, has there been some fucking luck along the way. Because there's been a couple godsends that have happened at the right moments that have allowed us just to even still stay alive. And, you know, Sarah still has PTSD of COVID and all the other shit that we had to go through, and me being me, and
Us being us.
us being poor, and all the other, yeah, us being us.
Dark times.
You know, but, you know, touching base with some of you guys, like, have been here early on, you know, what have been some of your coolest moments of the business, and how have you seen it in the changes that have gone on in the last 4 years?
I mean, it's just amazing. I think the wow and when it really hit me was when we were nominated for 50 fastest growing.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, people know us, we're acknowledged, and
Yeah.
we actually did something. You know, we really built this.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was.
And we beat a shit ton of companies.
Yeah,
It
We
was
made it a
super
hell of a lot
cool.
higher than I thought we did.
I think we did
Yeah.
10.
We got 10.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's when it really sunk in. Like, okay, we're doing something here.
Oh, 100%. And that was like the whole premise, is to want to share that with you guys. Like, that was a cool moment for me bringing that up, to have you guys there, in the sense of, you know, because I don't think, again, when you're in the grind of it, it doesn't seem like you're just doing anything but your job. And then, you know, when you start to see, like, up there on the board, I mean, we did 153% growth for 3 years straight.
I mean,
That means like $1 million to $3 million to $6 million to $9 million. That's not small jumps. Those are big jumps.
yeah. And as you said, we're moving at 50,000 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So it's hard to actually take that time and step back and
Yeah.
look at what we've accomplished.
100%.
Right.
Yeah, I have to stop and do that a lot, and I think all of us should. Like, everybody in the business at one point should take a step back and just do a reflection on it, because, you know, until you do that, you don't actually appreciate what has really gone on, and all the changes that have happened for the better, and where we kind of came from. Even, I mean, Taylor started even at the second, or was the third office, and now you in the new one. I mean, it's a completely different thing. I mean, now you're playing in the big leagues. Now you're playing for real. And that was like a moment for me where I kind of stopped and was like, holy fuck, this is just,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous.
very real.
Well, because when I was a kid, like, I mean, not even a kid, but they built that twice. I mean, Schumacher built it first, then they tore it down, then Cahill built this one. So we've seen that building a million times. I've seen it for years, and driven by it a million times. I'm like, you never think you'd own that shit. Like, it's crazy, like, to think about it. And then to have all of us in there in with that was, I think that caught a lot of people's attention, though, the Fast 50. Like, it caught Steve's attention, caught Ryan's attention, and it kind of caught everybody's attention in the sense of, like, what are we doing here, and, like, how real it really is. What about you? First one.
I've actually thought about this a lot lately, and it's just mind-blowing. Like, to know and to have been a part of the evolution of the company, to know, like, and really look back and have some footage and I mean, I've even brought up a couple of our videos recently, but, like, just to think of how this company started. And, like, I mean, I remember when you were flipping houses, you know, and it was a totally different thing. And then I think we were at a party and you made a comment about the two specs that you were building in South Park. And I remember in my head just being like, oh my God. And, like, he has no clue what he's getting into. And then when you said you were working with Ryan, I was like, oh my God, I know Ryan. And never at that time did I ever think I would be working with this company and in general, like, to be where we are today. Like, and to see the growth in you alone over the last 4 years. And just, I mean, every year we've faced every single challenge. Myself alone, I feel like coming into this, I never realized I would be exposed to so many different facets of the company. working for such a huge company before, like I remember at SNA, my prior manager asking me, she's like, like, what do you want to do? Like, where do you see yourself going? And I had mentioned a couple different things, and it was kind of like, well, can't really do that because it was such a big company that it was like, you only really ever got to focus on like some small little area. Yeah. And so being here, especially from like the ground up and getting to see like all of the different parts and then them exploding and just over time, I mean, you've been really open about like, well, what do you guys enjoy? Like before Taylor, it was, what do you two,
Yeah,
what do you enjoy doing? What do you want to do? What do you want to pass off? Like that was never an option in any other company that I've ever worked for. And I've never had so much opportunity, and it's been really cool. It's been exciting to be a part of. It's been enjoyable. And I've said for the last 4 years, I don't think that most people actually, a lot of people don't really enjoy their job. And for so long, I'd be like, I love going to work because it's fun, and if you have to work a third of your life, essentially, a third sleeping, a third is, work or more, to be able to come to work and learn and enjoy life and the people that you work with is like the dream. That's the American dream to me, like to enjoy what I'm doing and enjoy my family. It's been really cool to be a part of this ride.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I told you from the very beginning. Like, I mean, there's things about me. I have stigmas. Like, I got things in my life that have happened, and I get, they're kind of plastered on you forever. And that's why I told you, before you started. I was like, you're gonna see the real me now.
You did tell me that.
Not many people. Like, I'm not in tune with people all like that. Like, I don't. Like, you got to be inside my circle for me to give a fuck about you. Like, that's just how it goes. Like, I've been very open about a lot of this to a lot of people and a lot of conversations and a lot of things I've been on. But, I make decisions two ways. How is this going to affect the people inside of Hemlock, and how is this going to affect the ladies inside my house? Other than that, I don't give a fuck, period, at all. Because every single time I make a decision, it's not about me, and it's not about me, Ryan and Steve. It's about us. Like, I understood, from the very beginning, like you guys are more important than me. And that's just the reality of it, is because without any of you together, none of this is possible at a level that this is at. Like, I can only do so much. Like, I can only be the face of so much shit. And ultimately, I can't handle all this volume. So, for me, I've always wanted a job like that, because that's how I live my life. Like, what do I want to do and what do I not want to do? And I'm not going to do the shit that I don't want to do, and I'm not going to do the shit that I'm not good at. But I'll do it in the beginning. Like, I've never asked you guys to do one thing that I've never not done. That's the thing. Like, and I've always wanted to sit at the table with you guys in the very beginning, and I wanted to be there with you before you. I wanted to be there before you, and I wanted to be there after you, just so you understand that I'll always be in the trenches with you. Like, for me, business, there's a lot of people that talk business, but they're not real business operators. Like, I'm an extreme operator. Like, I will figure this shit the fuck out. That is my game. Like, I take this business like a Rubik's Cube, and I will figure out every fucking problem to it. And I'll probably create a couple more in the middle, and then I'll start figuring some shit out. But I'm not afraid to fall on my face. I'm not afraid to admit when I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to do all these things. And that's why I've always asked you guys that. Like, I want you to be happy. I want you to have this job. And I want you, if you're sitting in a position that you don't like, I will get you the fuck out of it immediately, because you're eventually I'm going to lose you. And that's my thing is I look at all of you, and this goes for everybody in Hemlock, is like, if you're not in a position you want to be in, please tell me, because I will move you, because ultimately I want to keep you for as long as humanly possible. That's my thing. I don't like turnover, and I don't like rotation. So we knew whenever we did all this shit during COVID, we switched vendors. How many times have we switched vendors with all this stuff? How many times have we switched subs? How many times it's expensive. So if I got to if I had to replace Stephanie now at 4 years, it's going to be a monster pain in my ass. Like, if I have to go back and do that at 4 years, it's a monster pain in our ass, because we've dedicated a lot of time with each other. Like, we've been through shit that I don't think a lot of companies are really understand. We were a 2-year business when we went through COVID. Like, we had one house. We were in the middle of Sevs. I mean, that was it. We didn't have shit else, like nothing. We were sneaking dudes into jobs to get it done, moved him in with no CO, like, just every ridiculous thing that you can think of, whether it's issues down in Northside that I got myself in, or appointments that I had problems at, and all sorts of shit.
Never.
I mean, you can't make up the story. But again, like, that's what makes it a bond, right? And that's what I said to you in the beginning, is you'll really see how this is going to go, because I spend more time with you guys than I spend with my family. So, like, I want to be around the people that I want to be around. And if I'm not vibing with you, you're out immediately. Like, and that's always been the thing. We've never not had one person that's come into this office where it hasn't, like, we all haven't vibed. And that's extremely key. Because if we would ever do that immediately, if someone didn't vibe, you're gone. Because I'm not. The core group of what this is built is how we're going to build this thing forever. We are the pioneers of this. Like, there's even the field guy that's been here since day one. Day fucking one. First job, first thing ever. Still here. And I think, again, that speaks volume to the company in the sense of, like, you're really trying to change lives. And I've really, really said that to everybody for a long time, and I mean it. Our job changes people's fucking lives, whether we know it or we don't. It changes lives, because you're changing people's holidays. You're changing people's Christmases. You're changing people's Thanksgivings, whether it's for the good or for the bad. This is not about money. This is not about houses. This is about legacy. And that's what we're building here, in the sense of we're going to work for some shit that you can be proud of. And that's what I told Taylor. Like, she heard stories about me coming in, yada, yada. And, like, you're going to see the real me. Like, you're going to see, like, the actual me. You're going to hear bullshit stories. You're going to hear dumb shit, and you're going to have to let it ride. And you're going to understand that, ultimately we're here to help you. I mean, that's the cool thing for someone in your position at 21, is you're surrounded by people who have the ultimate experience in construction. The good, the bad, the ugly, in the sense of it. You're going to learn business on a real level. You're going to learn how business operates at a real level, and again, when you're a part of a company that's still growing, because we didn't even get started yet. Like, we're just kind of figuring shit out. Like, we're grooving, but, like, we're getting ready to do some real shit. And I tell those people all the time, like, I genuinely do believe we will absolutely be the number one home building company in custom built on your own lot shit, for sure, before we're done. No doubt. Like, there's no doubt in my mind, because all of us have worked so hard from the very beginning to change paths so quickly. Like, I always said, like, the business doesn't move like a Corvette, but we do. Like, the business moves like a barge. When you make a mistake, like, you're going to eat shit in it for a while, and you got to be cool with it. Like, when we knew we were getting ready to, I remember down in Castle Shannon when I seen the writing on the wall, I sold every fucking thing that I owned. I sold every single nice fucking thing I owned in my life to bet on this, and knew that we were going to win, because I knew that we were getting ready to eat shit for about 2.5 years, and I had to buckle up for the bumpiest ride ever. And now, like, I mean, when you look back on it, you got through it, it was, that built us into one of the strongest companies, because we came out of COVID and we were able to scale and survive because of everybody here at this company, and everybody kind of had to figure out their groove. Like, in every office, it was different. Like, we were all doing different things. We all jumped in and helped in collective as a group to pick up all the pieces. Like, I mean, we scaled out of necessity. We didn't scale out of want. There was so many nights that I didn't, and again, it wasn't even for me. Like, I felt so bad, because I was like, fuck, man, I let everybody down. Like, I'm going to let everybody down when I tell everyone, like, we can't fucking do this anymore. Like, I don't have any more money. But, again, there was people that were dropped in our lives, for certain reasons. Jen texted me this weekend just saying she misses me. She feels like her third leg was cut off. I was like, listen, I always miss you, but it's people, and that's the big thing, why one of our core values is connections, because we have a connection with a lot of our people outside, that are everlasting. We're doing, what's Phoebe? Is that how we pronounce it correctly? I mean, that's our 6th project with him.
Wow.
Like, we're going to eventually remodel his entire home, but those are relationships we built from the very beginning. We still have them, and the Kleins and all those cool people. Like, we've done business with a lot of really amazing people over the years, and that's what it's about. It's about, the connections and meeting people and the relationships and moving on. and being able to make the decisions together, and that's why I always say to you guys, like, hey, if something's not working, you got to say it, because I'll change it immediately, but I don't know unless you speak up, because I'm not sitting there watching you like, hawk every day of like, what do you know, what's not working, what's going to work, like, and that's the fascinating thing now, because I'm sure we'll have to figure out what Taylor doesn't like and what she does like to get her to move up in the company at some point, to get her out of administrative role. But it's a great role to learn early on when you start understanding, because when she talks about paying bills, let's talk about paying bills. Like, we're paying $6 million in bills.
Yeah,
like, it's
they're
not
massive.
it's not like a couple $100,000. Like, it's a lot of money and a lot of responsibility, in the sense of, like, when you get into that position of like making sure everybody's taken care of, because we're the company that, like, when bills are due, I'm calling subs like, hey, we're ready to pay you. Hey, we're ready to pay you. Where's your invoice? Yada, yada, yada. Like, most businesses are under that. And that's why I think the cash flow for us has been able to become so alleviated, because we're not playing on other people's money. I'm very adamant about, every decision we've ever made in this company is based upon our money, because you feel it. That's the way you grow business. Is like, we could have easily gotten partners in here and done all this bullshit and got capital inflation, and we could have been in that office 2 years ago. We would have failed, and to see, Stephanie come in as a person who didn't know shit about this business, and like I said, I bet you can go talk in a bar with any dude and know just as much, because you got to understand, you've been a part of building a fuck ton of houses and some challenging things. You've had to overcome a lot of problems in the sense of your own process. How do you handle them? Now we've been sitting down weekly talking about how to redefine your process, talking about, upsells and side sells and all that stuff now, and getting you in tune with, how to kind of get into that, which is cool to see, because now you understand it on a level that most won't, because you understood construction nada. Now you're able to understand, it at a pretty good level, which, again, it's only going to make you stronger in the sense of, if you ever go do anything again in the construction industry, which is, an industry. I always say I think this is the hardest industry, period. I don't care what anyone says. This is the consumer business 101. You are up in everybody's shit, and everybody is up in yours, and it's very easy to get a bad reputation, and and I think we've done an amazing job over the years of maintaining just such a great brand and been able to keep that going. That's been the thing for me that's really stood out for all of us. The new office is cool. I think we've all really kind of grown into that a little bit, got a little bit of flow. I had a hard time. Anybody else have a hard time getting like adjusted? I think because I'm in my own office and I don't know how I feel about it.
I think it's weird because I spent all the time across from you since I started.
Yeah.
And then, like, just right across the table.
Yeah.
Whether we were fighting or getting along.
It's just the door.
We were
thing
just
for
in a
me.
big room and everybody would just walk back and forth by us. Yeah, now we have glass separating us, so that kind of helps out when we're throwing stuff.
Visuals.
Yeah, definitely. It was, I don't even know how to put it. Like, we did so much so fast there too. Amy even said that. Like, Amy was like, I've never seen anything happen like this so fast. Well, that's just kind of how we operate. Like, we move at a speed that's.
Peter's was what, like 2 years? But it seemed like it was like a hot minute. Like, I felt like it went so fast.
Peter's was 2 years and 3 months.
Like, it just seems like it went so fast. We've already been at the new office for what, like 6 months?
We moved in March.
No.
So 3.
3?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
No, that we made that move so quick.
Yeah.
Very quick.
Yeah.
We bought it in January, right? We bought it in January
Yeah, I
and we did
guess,
remodeling.
we bought it in January.
Closed at the end of
yeah.
February, and we were moving beginning of March.
We did $180,000 in renovations in fucking 6 weeks.
I don't see the bills anymore, so I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of money.
Yeah, we spent about
A lot of money.
$190,000 on renovation, which was why I was stressed for the longest time.
A lot of money.
Because you were aiming for half of that?
I was aiming for 100.
I know.
Blew by that. But, like I said, it's for us, I think I wanted to bring you guys on for the ultimate awareness of, this company's not about me. This company's not about Ryan. It's not about Steve. It's about us. I mean, the office has to flow in a way that the office has to flow. And it's important to understand and let everybody listening, like, when you talk about the nuts and bolts of this company, it is you guys. It is ultimately, the every team member of Hemlock in general. It is a fascinating thing because I think a lot of people, when you look at companies, like, yeah, we built a house. We built some houses. I'm like, what, like 2?
2.
What the fuck? I'm like, we do roughly 40 plus remodeling projects a year plus 15 custom houses on scattered sites spread an hour across every part of this earth. And it is extremely difficult. And we've been able to get very good at it very quickly. And you guys have adapted extremely well and, gone through some very, very hard times, even right now. I mean, right now is not easy. We got caught in a bad lull. Like, you've been drowning. I don't even see you anymore. And when you are,
I hide in
scared
my
to talk
office.
to you.
I know.
Angry in there. Angry.
It's like a bottleneck.
She's angry. Yeah, so we had like 9 contracts bursting at the seams that have gone wrong so what was the new stuff we had to face was all land and financing. So that was like the new barriers of things we've had to jump through of what's Briar's problem? Sewer issues, subdivision issues.
And then subdividing the subdivision.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's not the standard. Nothing is the standard. So everything's different. Same thing with costs and making sure that
Then we had variance
everything is
hearings in
accounted
Alabama
for.
we had to go to. We have
Yep.
sewer hearings on
Peters,
Denison's.
the
We had-
variance. And
I had to pay off a lawsuit. It
Yep.
had nothing to do with me in any way, a sense of that. That
Mm-hmm.
was fun. But yeah,
so there's that.
those are all the new hurdles. So if anybody wants to start a construction business, just make sure you're going to have to eat shit for a long time. But I mean, again, I think, even this last round, it kind of shows us, like, how are we going to maneuver through the problems? How we get through these problems, because the next time we'll see that problem, it's like, okay, then we got to do this. We got to do this. That's what I told Ryan today. I was like, anybody that's doing outside, like, front end stuff on the municipality, we have to do it. It's mandatory. We're handling all your upfront work. So everybody listen, you want to build with us, we're going to do all your upfront stuff. We're going to do all of it. Just give us your paperwork and let us
easier in the
roll.
long run.
100%. 100%.
More cost effective too.
No doubt. But yeah, I mean, I think the new office, do you like it, Steph?
Yeah, I think it's great.
You
I
like
think it's
having your own space?
I do, but I get lonely in the basement.
Down there with the boys.
The stinky boys.
They are some stinky
Very
men.
stinky.
Yeah.
No, I think it's great, and I think it'll really help us grow even more.
Yeah. How's it helped your side of the selections now that you have, like, a much larger space?
Yeah, I definitely have way more room. It's easier to display things. I don't have to just refer to, books and handouts and stuff like that. I can actually show the product. People get to touch it, feel it. They did at the other offices too, but not as many of the items we offer. So, it gives me a lot of room to move around and just flow through the selections meeting a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I think you could put our old selections
Right in the
office,
corner?
like right in the
first one?
corner where the pictures are, or something.
that was like the thing that was like back in the first office, we would like still be working and people would be doing selections meetings and like it was fucking awkward. Like it was. Like I try and like to think like how the fuck is this even normal?
Or you would be having a sales meeting right next to me as I was doing my work.
It's true.
Yeah.
Or drinking water on the other side of the wall while there was a selections. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. That led to our first 1-star. That was completely my fault. 1,000% my fault. That was whenever we really started changing a lot of shit though.
That was
Because
a lot. We changed a lot. Like
Yeah.
we stopped a lot of things and we
again,
implemented
I think
a lot of things and
the partying had to stop.
Yeah.
And fun and all that other stuff.
had to tighten up.
Yeah. It was
That was when the fun stopped and Ted was like, "Oh, it's not fun anymore."
I was like, oh, we're gonna go to business. So I have to be fun. Like, what do you want us to do? What are you gonna do? No, I mean, now it's gonna be fun because we never really had a designated marketing person. Like with Taylor, it's, you know, and what's interesting is for her age, she doesn't use any AI. So that was like
sounds like she does.
fucking solid.
Got a genius
Like
brain.
I don't really say shit, and I don't even like marketing. Like I despise marketing. I really do. But like, man,
We definitely know.
I don't like it at all. I don't.
Definitely know.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I look at it and I'm like, my God, like when you freeform it like the way you do and you do it consistently, it's a very unique ability. You know, and that's something that is and especially in an industry that you're so foreign to. And that was like you never skipped a beat. And it was interesting because you would think that somebody who's writing it was either an AI or somebody who's been in construction their entire lives. When you move words around in a certain sense, it's been extremely delightful to watch because I don't
How
have
do you know that without knowing that?
Well, I ask a lot of questions. I do ask Bryan. I'll be like, "What is this?" or "What is this called?" or like, "What did you do on this project that was different? Like, why are they?" I ask him a lot of questions. I do.
Okay,
Yeah,
that
but-
makes more sense because
I
I
do ask
definitely
him.
there's
Yeah.
times where I'm like, how does she know that
No, I
without
ask.
knowing that?
I definitely
Like,
ask.
The interesting thing, yeah, I mean, what I like about it is that's what I told all of you. Like, just ask a bunch of fucking questions. That's what I said to Steph. Like, the only way you're ever gonna learn anything is you're gonna have to interject and like you're gonna have to ask questions. That's it. Period. Like, because again, we're just a bunch of dudes. Like, we're in a one-track mind where we're like, we're not here to like think about explaining shit to you. So you have to really ask a lot of questions in here. Like, Ryan is so fucking full of knowledge and construction. It's ungoddamn believable. Like, and the thing about it is we all, like me, Ryan, and Steve sit in all three very different worlds where like I'm sales driven, I'm operations driven, and that's really it. That's all you really get out of me. I'm the hard shell. Like I have to be that person. And then you have Steve who's just like, I don't know, you know,
He's relatable,
nothing
though.
fucking, you know, whatever.
he's
You
the
know?
personality though. Like everybody loves him because he's like,
He's a
Can't not.
heart.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't not. And then you have Ryan, who's just, you know, who's extremely educated in the sense of, you know, everything construction oriented. And, you know, and that's why I call him like, what are we doing here? Like, and and I've said to those guys, like, that's what made us be able to grow even just as fast as well. It's the same thing why I don't micromanage you. We don't micromanage each other. Like, we're not in each other's shit. Like, we all trust each other that we're doing each other's job. Like, we're pushing sales, we're pushing this, we're doing that. Steve's getting shit done, Ryan's getting shit done, da 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 da. Like, that's how this is gonna operate, and that's how it's gonna continue to operate. You know, and that's why I said to Taylor the same thing. I'm like, you have to ask a shit ton of questions, and not every question comes to me. Like, I have some shit I just don't even have a clue about. I'm like, you gotta go talk to Sarah. You gotta go talk to Steph. You know, like
You do that.
on the sales that I'm not really involved in. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know the answers. Just get more sales. That's what we're trying to do here.
Last couple weeks though, Taylor was like, I'm just gonna go back into my office. Side skirt, Sarah.
I side skirt Sarah.
Yeah.
Hopefully we
It
get
just
you out.
depends. It depends. Sometimes it's Bryan. Sometimes it's Ryan. Sometimes it's you. But, you know, at the end of the day, Steph will know the answer. If I can't get
Steph
through
always
any
knows
of
the
you,
answer. I
I go
understand
to
it.
her.
I don't understand how that happens. I always look at that. I'm like, how the fuck she know?
She's a genius. She knows
I
it
don't
all.
even know. Yeah, it's been fun. I've had a great time. You know, there's definitely been the ups and downs of it. I mean, you'll know when I'm in stress related situations, and they're all financial. So like you'll know because that's like the sector that I live in, and I'm like, oh my God, we're dying. But then I'm like, we've been through this a million times now, and I always got to tell myself, I'm like, you just make it out of it, like you're fine. You know, and that's what I always say to people when they first start a business, and that's, you know, we've got multiple people on here who like first time business owners, or you know, they're at a point where they have to make a hire, and I always tell everyone, I'm like, you better make a hire, and you better make the right one, you know, and you better surround yourself by the people that you want to be around. You know, it's extremely important to have a good culture, and you know, for us, it's almost hard to get us to not stop joking and chirping around. Where I'm like, sometimes like, okay, can you just be fucking serious because I'm not very serious either. Like, it's hard. Where I'm like, all right, can we just be fucking serious? Now we're trying to have a meeting, and then we talk shit on Mark or something. And some shit happens, or you know, we make
Taylor
fun of
throws a
Ryan.
whole pile of papers at you.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That's my
So-
MO. Yeah.
But again, like that's the way I think you keep long culture. And I've always said that. Like if I get to a point of this business where it's like real HR, I'm out. Like I'll be the first one to be fired by HR. That's just not the way it's just how it's gonna go. Like, and that's what I said, back to authenticity. Like we all just be ourselves. That's what I said. In sales is us, we are who we are. Like if you don't want to do business with us, then fuck it. I don't care. I don't need your business. If you connect with us and you want a great experience and you want a hands-on, more family-oriented type business, this is the business to come to. If you want to be robotic and you want to do all the bullshit, listen, there's plenty of other companies out there for that. And, over the last 5 years of doing this, 4 with everybody, it's been an absolute blessing for me. I've had the most fun, I think I've ever had in my life, doing this, and blessed to be around everybody every day and, grow something that's fun. Yeah. And again, I want to express our appreciation, from me, Ryan, and Steve, for all of you ladies. Believe me, I know it's not always expressed. I know it's not expressed by me enough. Believe me, I understand. I have a one-track mind. Like when the bell rings, like my brain works like this. When the bell rings in the morning, it's like the stock market. I don't give a fuck. We're out here chasing bread. Like we're out here making moves. We're out here pushing the company forward. And then I'll circle back to you in the evening whenever I'm like, it'll be all right. But it's the growth from everybody from the very beginning, and Taylor, you're going to see it too. Is we're still in the infancy stage of what we're trying to do. Hopefully, we got over some of the building blocks. The first 5 years are a real struggle. But for us, it's I've said it from the start. All of you ladies should be very proud of yourselves. I mean, you guys have worked your fucking asses off, and you continue to work your asses off. I say that to the dudes all the time. I'm like, listen, I got these girls down. We don't take breaks. We don't eat lunches. We don't fucking do shit. We are grinding hard. We do not fuck around in that office. If you think an office job with me is an easy thing, you are wrong. It is not, because you'll hear me. That's the thing. I'm loud. Like I'm just very boisterous whenever I do whatever. So like I might move downstairs and then I'll just pop back up.
You will still hear you if you're downstairs.
Yeah, I'm just loud the whole time. And I'm always on the move back and forth. But, that's been the fun of the business. So, again, let's circle back on it. What have been some of your best experiences so far, Taylor, in the little bit you've been here?
I think really marketing is because that's truly what I wanted to do. That's why I went to college for it. And I've learned a lot about, targeting and seeing what works, and a lot of things like active times that people are on social media, or like what people like, or what different demographics, what they do per se, and how they find out their information. I think that I've learned a lot about that as well. Obviously, there's room to grow, but I think I'm doing an okay job with it.
So is that where you want to head in life, the marketing department?
I don't know if I really necessarily want to do that, but I enjoy it a lot. Don't get me wrong. It's very fun for me to do. I do really enjoy it.
No, it's been good. You got to drive around the other day, handing out pamphlets.
I did. That was very fun. I got to drive to so many different towns and, pass out, what did I call them? Rock cards?
You called them some shit. I just called them fucking pamphlets.
Yeah, they're like
Except you don't
flyers.
open them.
They were pretty much flyers that I designed, which I was very proud of, and I got to hand them out to every business that I passed. I have a whole big notes list.
Did you go to the chicken shop in Fredericktown?
I did.
Did you get any chicken?
I did.
Did you get the Southern?
I just got whatever they had in the case. I went to the deli and I got it. I didn't.
That place was fire.
I didn't love it.
You didn't?
I took one bite and I was like, "What is this?"
That's ridiculous.
I honestly probably would have preferred a dinosaur chicken nugget over that. I didn't
Because
love
you got the regular style. You should have got the
I don't
Southern.
like spicy stuff. I think the regular nuggets. I thought
they
they'd
had
be
Southerns
good.
that are fried. I told you to get that.
It wasn't that good. I didn't like it. But anyway, I passed out all the flyers to different businesses. I have I think 14. I wrote down every single name, took a picture of every single one that I put it at. So if I get some calls, you'll know from where.
I like it. And we've been playing around with some different marketing stuff. We've been doing some commercials on streaming and kind of switched the geo pattern up on that. And we met with them today. So we kind of switched up the areas and some new targeting and did some of that. We're going to switch up the billboard again. So we're going to switch the design on that. Yeah, did some radio. Mm-hmm. Do some more radio. I think I have the radio tomorrow, Jason White.
Did you like the first radio you did?
Yeah.
Is it?
It was cool. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
again, it's about experiences, right? So,
Right.
like, life's just, I mean, you walk into, like, this old radio studio. It's like
But it
right
was
across,
fun.
Yeah, but it's, like, right across the street from the jail in Washington County. So I started thinking about all that, too. I was like, man, I was in that motherfucker.
Well.
But, you know, but, yeah, it was cool. Like, I mean, you walk in there, and it's just, like, I told you, it was wild. It was like an old school radio. So, like, there was cassette tapes and, like, old school shit in
You
there.
said 80s.
And, like, dudes in, like, just this little teeny room. And you're standing there, 1, 2, 3, here we go. And you're some dudes watching through the glass as, like, they're recording and doing all that. So it was fun. So I think I have radio tomorrow with Jason. So I meet him in Uniontown in the morning and then do whatever he does. So I guess we have breakfast beforehand. I don't know. Something like that. So that'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, in regards to the marketing side, I mean, we're going to get way more involved in that. We have Community Day coming up in Peters. So we always do that. Somebody ripped off our dunk tank idea this year. Savages. I want to know who they are.
It was a great idea.
It was a great
Yeah.
idea.
It was fun.
Of course it is. You guys created a
Need
great
something
idea.
better, bigger and better.
Yeah, we got to get a roller coaster in there. or some
Ski
shit.
ball or something.
Something like that. Some bowling. Was that what you were doing? Bowling.
Ski ball. Ski ball.
Ski ball. Oh, I do like me some ski ball. I do like it.
Basketball.
Like the ones you know at Kennywood. Or?
Oh, we could do something like that. You can make it to where like it's the one you barely win though. You can like give away a house.
The oval.
You love that.
You gotta make little ones like the
You want
ball
a house.
doesn't
yeah,
fit in the
it's
oval.
like the chance like getting struck by lightning. You know, the one person will win they'll be like, oh my god.
That is a really good idea, though.
Yeah,
Yeah. Maybe you should do like a remodel though, made on a house.
something smaller.
Yeah. Smaller scale.
Well, we are about approaching the end. I told you it would come faster than you would think. So in closing, I do appreciate all of you, like I said. You know, I look forward to the future, and I think it is very bright for all of us here. I think we're going to be able to really do some cool shit. We got a lot of cool houses coming out of the ground this year. We're going to be shifting gears a little bit again and keeping everybody on their toes. And I think, you know, again, if you want to reach out to us for a custom home or some remodeling, let us know. Visit our website at www.hemlockhomebuilding.com. Office numbers 412-444-5008, and you will speak to Taylor. She will set you up.
I will. I definitely will.
All right, ladies, well, I appreciate you. And everybody out there, just know in any construction you're getting done, there's some strong women in the background for you. All right, that's the end.
Thank you.
Thanks.